Rose and Annette.
Hi. Annette.
Hope you're all doing really well today. This is the final episode in our 3-part series on All About Life Coaching. It's been a packed 2 episodes so far, and today is going to be no different. So far we've actually covered what life coaching is, what are the benefits of a life coach, how do I know I need one. We've gotten right down into the nitty-gritty of what actually happens in a life coaching session. And what happens in between a life coaching session, so the types of homework and things that you might be needing to work on yourself. Right. Today we are going to be talking all about how do you choose a life coach. There are lots and lots of businesses and people out there, some of them with more experience or less experience, some who've been around for longer or have been around for less time, and I think it's really important for us to actually cover how you can choose a fantastic life coach that you can work with. First up, we're going to do some introductions. So I'm Annette Rose. This is the beautiful Rose Ilioski from Boutique Life Coaching. Rose and I met several months ago at a networking breakfast for women. If you've watched our other videos, you already know that we were lucky enough to experience an immediate connection. And we have spent the last few months working together in our businesses, which has been an absolute privilege.
Yes.
So, how about an introduction from you, Rose?
Okay, thanks, Anna. Thank you for having me here today and being with me. Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Rose, and I'm Hungarian background and married, 35 years, 3 grown-up children. And I love making a difference in people's lives, and that's how I think I attracted life coaching into my life, or coaching. And so in cutting the long story very short, in 2003 I've acquired my certification in life coaching. In early 2004 I began formal coaching, and I've been loving it since. I absolutely love working with people, particularly coaching women. That's my niche. And so I just love to make a difference in people's lives. I love to get people to think, to take time out, to have a look at their life, to design their life. I really love to sit down with people to actually help them design their life as they want it to be. So I just, different thinking is my passion. Perfect.
Wonderful. Okay, well, before we dive into today's topic about how to choose a life coach, it was actually a topic that I agreed with Rose that we were going to bring up, because I've been doing a lot of chatting to colleagues and I've been chatting to friends as we've been putting together the interview series and the questions. And one thing that has really struck me, I think, in those conversations is that I guess the reason we're doing this series is first and foremost that people often don't know what a life coach does. But when people do know what a life coach does, I actually have come to sense that in some cases there is a reluctance. So, people are almost like, oh, well, I'm not sure I need a life coach, or what would I need a life coach for? Those are the types of things. And one of the things that I wanted to ask Rose was, what is her view on why that reluctance is there? It seems strange to me.
Interesting. I mean, look, there's a number of reasons, and I'm sure there are arrays of reasons that people come up, but something that I've noticed is that sometimes people are reluctant because, well, sometimes they actually don't really understand what a life coach is and what it's about, how it works. And secondly, the things that I've heard is, well, sometimes it comes up like the money situation is like nowadays, people don't really have that much money, so they leave that to the side, even though they would like to. So sometimes it's the money.
So interesting, isn't it? Because I think life coaching can even help you to achieve financial goals.
Absolutely, yes. It's one of those situations. It's like a catch-22 situation, and I like to call it like you can't afford not to.
That is a really great.
And I've been in that situation when I first hired my coach. It was quite expensive. This was 14 years ago. And I really couldn't afford it, but I did get the money together because I knew it was very important. And I'm telling you, like I mentioned in the previous video, that what price can you put on confidence? What price can you put on saving your relationship? What price can you put improving your health? What price can you put on your happiness and all that? So that's how we need to look at it. That's how I got to look at it.
I think it's interesting because I was reflecting on it and wondering why it is that we, if you have something wrong with your back, you have something wrong with your neck or your shoulders, you kind of don't hesitate. You pretty sharply get yourself down to the GP, you go to a physio, you go to a chiropractor. I think we've learned in life to look after our bodies and to take those steps when they're necessary, but when you're thinking about actually designing your life, I think that achieving the goals that you want to achieve in your life, it is really, really valid to be thinking about how a life coach can actually help you to achieve those goals.
That's right, yes, absolutely. It's an interesting point, Anne. And so what other things that happen is that people sometimes they're shy. They say, I really would love to change my life. But, I will have to open up to this coach. I will have to tell him or her kind of my deep kind of emotions
and
secrets and things like that. Well, let me assure you, in coaching, you share whatever you like to share, really. But it happens in such a beautiful way that eventually you realize, wow, what was I concerned about? It's really not concerned. I had, people giving me that feedback, and it happened to me too. That I was a little bit hesitant and a little bit worried about opening up to this person because it's personal. But it just happens in a beautiful way, and everything is so confidential that, your secrets or your deep emotions are not shared with anyone. That's between you and your coach.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, sometimes people may hold back engaging a life coach is because they might be afraid, like they really want to achieve these goals and they want to change their lives, but they realize, oops, if I'm going to engage a life coach, I'm actually going to have to do some stuff. So they're a little bit afraid, that there might be a little bit of comfort zone, they might be procrastinating a little bit, there might be a little bit of fear around there, but you know what? Your coach will help you with that.
Yep.
They will ease everything and you will just flow beautifully, and there will be no problem with that at all. But that's some of those
some of those concerns. Well, what I think is really great is if you are kind of coming to this video fresh, you haven't seen the previous two videos, I would encourage you to jump over to Facebook at Boutique Life Coaching and have a little look at both of those videos that came before this one, because what we do break down is that life coaching is very structured, it is not woolly and fluffy. You are going to deal with some things and there's going to be actions to take, but it will be very empowering when you can actually achieve those goals.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on with today's interview then. So we're here today to talk about how you can choose a life coach. So assuming that you've decided you're going to move ahead, what do you think the best ways are to actually find a life coach?
Okay, well, nowadays, 21st century, a lot of people do it online. I know I've done it too. I looked online, and then that's a little bit daunting because unless you heard of the person or you know them, you really have to check them out. Look into something that I've learned is that you go into their website, check it out, see the dialogue, kind of even you can sense even the energy. What are they portraying? Who are they? Because often there's photos up there, and so you can dialogue everything else on the website. Facebook, social media. But probably the best method is a referral from someone. When somebody actually kind of even knows you, maybe not necessarily even had an experience with you, but knows you and experience with you as a colleague or a friend or an acquaintance, and they say, wow, that person is great, you should see them. So definitely a referral is probably the best way of going about it.
So internet, Facebook, but if you can speak to friends and family and find out if anybody can make a recommendation, that's probably the best way forward.
And may I just inject a little bit is that, when you are on Facebook or Instagram or whatever other social media platform, follow them for a while.
That's a good idea.
Follow them for a while, see what they're about. Are they inspiring? Are they speaking your language, your love language? Do you see yourself maybe working with them, being in and around their energy and aura?
Like it. Good suggestions. Okay, so what qualifications should people be looking for? So let's say we've narrowed down the field to 2 or 3 potential life coaches that we could work with. What qualifications am I looking for to be sure that I'm working with somebody who knows what they're doing?
Yeah, well, definitely, they need to have a certificate, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. But there's
colleges or training providers.
Colleges, training providers. So I've done, my certification with Results Coaching Systems, and then I've done NLP with NLP International.
Okay.
And
I feel like we have to pause there because NLP. I'm actually just being really mean now because I'm going to make Rose say it.
Yeah.
What does NLP stand for,
NLP
Rose?
is Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Oh, well
so
said.
it is all about the unconscious. Just in few words, it's all about the unconscious or subconscious mind, as some people say it. And it's very, very powerful, very simple. It's a methodology. It's just a bit of add-on. It's a great add-on to the coaching modality, the coaching language or dialogue.
Awesome.
Yeah. And of course, it's great when the coach actually has got some coaching experience, like a few years of coaching experience. Age has got a little bit to do with it too, because obviously the more years you have on you, the more life experience you have under your belt or under your sleeves. So that also is quite helpful.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the University of Life qualification.
That's right, University of Life, that's right, yes.
Wonderful. Okay, very good. Okay, now for the big question. And I think this is the tough one. How do I actually work out if I'm going to be able to get on with a coach? So as an example, what do you offer in your business? If somebody calls you and says, hey, I've been recommended I should speak to you, I'm looking for a life coach, what would be the next steps for you guys to work out if you're going to get on?
First of all, I always do a quick telephone chat. I mean, we can do a face-to-face chat too if it's appropriate. And we then have an opportunity to sense, like, my potential client can sense who is Rose, what she's about, do I like her energy, do I see myself working with her or not, and vice versa. Because it's also an interview for me too, in a sense.
Exactly.
Because I want to work with people that want to achieve, that will take coaching seriously. And so basically it's a two-edged sword in a way.
Fantastic. So you're interviewing each other and in that first meeting, preferably face-to-face, but could be over the phone, you're actually interviewing each other to see if there is a connection, enough of a connection for you to actually move forward into a first session.
And that connection, that spark, that resonance is vital. Without that, it won't work. So you've got to actually, when you are going out there choosing a coach, then you've got to do all this little bit of a homework and you've got to connect because it will not work.
That's right. And I think it's, I don't know, when you're actually out and you meet people and you become friends with people, you do know very quickly whether that connection is there or not.
So it's basically the same, very, very basically the same.
Okay, so that click and that resonance is quite important.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Second tough question. How can I make sure I'm actually getting what I'm paying for? And how can I make sure that I'm actually going to achieve my goals when I go into a life coaching program or series of sessions?
Sure. Well, we do, in our first session, we do sign an agreement. We both of us sign an agreement. There's terms and conditions. My potential client or client-to-be, they need to go through the terms and conditions, and we both sign, put a date on it, and both of us keep a copy.
Fantastic.
So basically...
So that's quite a formal stage, which I think is important.
Oh, absolutely it is, because sometimes it turns out that maybe we need to break that, the coaching session because for whatever reason it's not working. We thought it might, and so this also has got to do with accountability too. Coach needs to be accountable. Like I know I've experienced that with some of my clients, I was more committed to their goal and journey than they were.
Wow.
But that's okay because that's important what I do. So sometimes it happens that we may need to break the agreement, and we do it in a very nice way.
That's fantastic.
So,
very good.
Definitely.
So we've got an agreement. We've got holding each other to account and holding ourselves to account, and then that openness and honesty to be able to address any issues as we're going
Absolutely.
along, but perhaps
Yes.
even to the point that if it wasn't the right arrangement, you come to an amicable agreement. I think
That's
really
right,
great.
yes.
So it is formal.
So the
Wonderful.
structure of the whole process is very important because it ensures that we are actually heading in the right direction. And if I see, which has happened, that if I see that my client is actually not doing what they set out to do or what they said that they will do, I will remind them. If they keep on doing that, then we really need to look at should we continue or not.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
That is really important.
Yeah.
Sometimes life happens, so these things happen, but
Absolutely. And
it's
there's no
gonna-
hard feeling.
it's going to block you to achieving your goals. You've got to talk about it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty, so final question. I think when you're in that first meeting, depending on who you are and where you come from, there are some really important indicators. They might be questions, they might be feelings, but what are some of those questions that people should be asking themselves in that first meeting to make sure that they are choosing the right coach?
Okay, that's interesting. I think it really, from my experience, my perspective, it really goes back to that resonance. That resonance and the structure that I offer. Because what happens is when I start working with someone, we've got the agreement form, but also I give them a work folder. So everything is in there for them, propelling them forward. They know this is not just a willy-nilly, dancing around type of a thing. That is actually serious business, but it's fun.
Professional.
It's
I like
professional.
that. Yeah.
It's professional.
So
it's
professionalism
fun.
is important.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't, that's how I set it up, because I believe that it's setting up everything right and establishing, the clarity of boundaries. It's very important right at the beginning, so we have a clear understanding how we're going to travel on that journey together.
So structure, professionalism.
Yeah.
So asking those questions in that session about how is your coach going to be holding you to account, what types of materials can you expect them to be giving you. Values is always a really interesting thing.
Right,
so,
yes.
Asking some questions to try and establish what values
Absolutely.
are important to your coach might be helpful.
That's right. And of course, I always give time to my potential clients to ask me questions. It's not a one-way street. I want them to ask, so do you have any questions for me? What kind of a coach would you like me to be for you? So they actually let me know, I want you to be, loving and caring but tough. I want you to push me. I want you to be tough with me. I want you to maybe kick my butt every now and then. Keep me accountable because I really need you to be my accountable buddy and things like that. So it's communication. It's asking the questions. Yeah.
I like that. So open communication. Really
That's
important.
right. Yes, open channel.
Very good. All right.
Yes.
Well, look, that was a pretty sharp little session. I hope that we have covered all of the information that you need to know about how to choose a life coach. That is the end of our 3-part series, but don't worry. You can find Rose on Facebook.
Yes.
At Boutique Life Coaching. You can find her online at boutiquelifecoaching.com.au. And thanks so much for having us and watching our videos. We hope you enjoyed them.
I hope so that you enjoyed it too. And again, if you do have some questions or queries or you're not sure of something, don't be bashful. Just leave a message for me. Give me a call. My number is on the Facebook page and on my website. And just give me a call. Don't be bashful. Find out.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Have a great day. See you later.
Have a great day.